Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, sponsored by Spotnana and American Airlines. The title of today's webinar is Increase Traveler Satisfaction and Value with a Modern Personalized Shopping Experience. And I want to just take a quick moment to thank GBTA for hosting us today. I'm sure everyone knows American Airlines. Spotnana, however, may be less familiar to many of you. Very briefly, Spotnana is a provider of an open cloud-based travel as a service platform. We're something entirely new in the industry. For corporations, we offer an all-in-one travel solution that includes an online booking tool and a travel management company. We also work very closely with a very large ecosystem of TMCs and suppliers and technology providers. And one of the key reasons that we're different from everyone else out there in the industry is that we are working very hard to modernize the infrastructure for the travel industry. In addition to building our own online booking tool, we've built an entire technology stack that runs in the cloud, and it includes an agent desktop, a mid-office replacement, a new system of record, and a new engine for managing content. And this enables us to be a catalyst for innovation in the travel industry, and also allows us to work together with our partners to open the door to a new generation of traveler experiences. My name is Justin Schuster. I'm the VP of Marketing at Spotnana, and today I'll be a moderator. And our featured guests are Anthony Rader, who's the Director of Distribution Strategy at American Airlines, and Johnny Thorson, VP of Partnerships at Spotnana. And I'll give Anthony and Johnny a quick moment to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their backgrounds. Anthony, let's start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me today. I look after the distribution strategy team here at American Airlines, and I've been with American for almost 14 years now, starting in global sales and spending time in several roles across the commercial organization, including revenue management as well. And I'm very excited to be joining the discussion today. And special thank you to our colleagues at GBTA for helping organize this webinar. And I feel like it's a very dynamic time for our industry, and together we've achieved some recent milestones together and on our journey towards a more modern retailing experience for customers. And so today's discussion should be a great one regarding our partnership with Spotnana.
And Johnny, could you introduce yourself?
I can indeed. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Johnny Thorson. I'm the VP of Partnerships and Strategy here at Spotnana. I have a long career in the kind of corporate travel technology world and have been involved in no less than 3 different kind of type of new technologies rolling into this industry. But I have to say that the Spotnana project is by far the most exciting and the most ambitious one because, as you just said in the intro, Justin, we are more than a booking engine. We are more than a TMC. We're literally taking on the challenge of building a new infrastructure, which will then allow us to be creative together with suppliers, and that should hopefully benefit buyers and TMCs quite a lot. Because we've reached the point where we cannot put any more innovation into the old tech stack. And I really look forward today to talking about what we are doing, and more importantly, what we think we will be doing if we look 6-12 months into the future. So welcome everybody, and look forward to this session.
Terrific. And we wanted to spend time with you because we recently announced a partnership between American Airlines and Spotnana. And what we wanted to do was to deliver a more modernized, personalized retailing experience that's accessible through Spotnana's platform. And in our announcement, we described the work that we've done together as something that we think is the deepest integration that has been created to date between an airline and a travel platform. And before we dive into the details, though, of what we've built, and today we'll show you a few quick demos of that, we'd love to spend just a quick minute just talking about why did we form this partnership in the first place. And to do that, I'd love to just turn things over to Johnny first to answer that question.
Thanks a lot, Justin. So when Spotnana got founded about 2.5 years ago, we knew from day one that the goal was to create a platform that would allow modern capabilities, retailing, servicing, etc. We also knew it would not be possible to kind of do that on the old tech stack. And I always give a very simple example, right? NASA is currently getting ready to send a new lunar lander up to the moon. They are not putting it on top on an old Apollo rocket, because if they did, there would be so many limitations for how they could kind of successfully deliver that mission. So they have built an entire new rocket as part of the new moon landing project. And that's where we are in travel. We created something called NDC 10 years ago, but we squeezed it into the old tech stack. And that's the primary reason it hasn't really worked in corporate travel at all. Because if I'm a supplier, an airline like American today, all I can do is deliver my content, but I have no control of what happens once it hit the old tech service environment. So the airlines have not been able to really extend the service, the new capabilities to the corporate travel channel. We believe we have built the right infrastructure for airlines to kind of start taking advantage of this new environment. And we already have the first examples of what that can deliver to the buyer. Importantly, it cannot be a standalone for booking engine technology. It also has to work for the agent environment. Most corporate buyers have an online and offline kind of program management in place, and the two have to be in sync. So delivering a solution that only works for online has no value. Then you just have a massive gap between the two channels. And that's again part of what our platform provides the buyer with, a consistent service experience, whether it's booked by the traveler or by the agent. So that's really the foundation, and that's where we're starting.
And Anthony, your thoughts?
Sure. So for American, the foundation of our strategy and distribution is really connecting to our customers and the channels they choose to transact in. And we want to deliver modern retailing experiences in those channels. And so American has been on this journey for more than a decade. And a large percentage of our customers who are booking leisure trips today get to experience these modern retailing experiences. And the opportunity for our corporate travelers to experience this through third-party booking tools has just been lacking for too long. So in many distribution e-commerce businesses, we hear a lot about the focus on the last mile. Well, in travel, it's no different. For us in the travel ecosystem, the last mile is that third-party corporate booking tool that the customer is booking in. And airlines and technology aggregators can innovate all we want, but this innovation really isn't brought to life without the customers being able to see it in the display and in the booking tool that they use. So Spotnana's Direct Connect directly into American's NDC API allows these corporate customers, our mutual corporate customers, to access our elevated NDC content alongside other carriers' NDC content and traditional GDS content as well, all within kind of that corporate approved online booking tool, all within the corporate travel policy as well. So we're very excited about it.
And you talked about that last mile and how difficult that's been to execute and build against and complete the process around. Johnny, maybe you could take a minute just to talk about Spotnana's architecture and how it's built in a way that allows it to build a deeper integration with someone like American Airlines and execute against that last mile.
Yeah, so this is where, and I'll try not to kind of go too technical here and become a nerd, but everybody on this call, I assume, is familiar with the PNR. It's an order management system at its core. It was built 25 years ago by the GDSs as they rolled into the industry. And at the time, it was super advanced. The problem with the PNR as an order management system is that there's no structured data in place. It consists of, typically minimum 10, but in corporate travel, very often 200 lines or more of almost random text. And I'm saying random because each TMC in each market around the world will have its own PNR format. And because of that, we have an endless list of technology tools that are scanning the PNR and looking for information using so-called identifiers at the beginning of the lines. We've made it work. Online bookings were put on top of this PNR order infrastructure, and therefore all the booking engines of the old, they work with the PNR as the order management system. For an airline, it's horrible, right? Because if American wants to find the mobile number in a given booking made by an online engine, they don't know where the number might be. It can be anywhere in these so-called remarked or service segment lines. And therefore, you might wonder as a traveler, why did the airline not know my mobile number? It's in the booking. They simply don't know where to find it. What we have built is a structured order management system living in the cloud, which means it's open and accessible, of course, only when you have the digital key. But there's a field called mobile number. So it's very easy for an airline to identify the mobile number in any booking that's created on our platform. It lives in a logical data field designed just for that. That's the most basic example of an old order management system with no structure compared to a new one with structure. And obviously, once you have data structure, now you can do a lot of intelligent services relatively automated. You can integrate with other systems. You can send the airline more information when it's relevant and less when they don't need it. And the airline can even deliver services back to us that we can run against the orders and very quickly identify which bookings are qualified, all fully automated, no human involvement at all. So that's really why it's so exciting what we are starting here. It's the beginning of true digital retailing in the corporate travel channel.
And I can just take a quick moment to walk through our first demo where I'll show an example of what's possible with a more modern infrastructure, as Johnny was describing, and moving beyond that order management system that's based on a PNR. So let me get my screen going here. And just to quickly help everyone orient, what we're looking at is a section of the SpotNana online booking tool. And in this particular screen, we're looking at a summary of trips that have been booked. In this case, there's only one trip that's been booked, and we're going to click into it. We see that the trip is confirmed, and we further drill into a little drop down where we can see this is an American Airlines flight, and the traveler has booked it in October, flying October 24th and coming back on the 28th. And in this case, they would like to make a change. They could also cancel this flight on a self-service basis. But in this case, for the purposes of this demo, we're going to show a change. And for this particular change, they're going to change the departure date. As you can see in the screen, though, however, it is also possible to change the departure location or the arrival destination or add a segment to the trip. Now that a new date has been selected, what's shown here is the various options for changing that flight. All the search results are displayed. And in addition, the difference in fare price is clearly visible for each of the options that can be selected. Our traveler goes ahead and selects an economy area and chooses an economy fare. In this case, that fare offers a $70 price reduction relative to their original ticket, and they see that on the summary screen and go ahead to book the flight. And on the back end, we're making this level of self-service capability possible because, as Johnny was saying, we don't use the PNR for order management. Instead, we built our own system of record where all the data that's needed to make a flight change is stored in a structured database that can be easily accessed. And so, Johnny, let me start with you. This is very useful for travelers. What do you see as the key benefits for travelers and for corporations around enabling self-service modifications and cancellations?
So it's an almost endless list of benefits that we are enabling here, right? And I'll just start with myself being a corporate traveler. I have lost count of the number of times where I've had to contact either the TMC or the airline because I wanted to make a relatively simple change to a booking that had been made but not yet traveled. I'll definitely say airlines have become a lot better at letting me change when I get close to departure. So the mobile apps are giving me the ability to do a lot of stuff if I have the right frequent flyer status. But if I don't, then I'm left with the TMC and the manual service option. And that means I now have to find a time in my, no doubt busy day and track down a TMC agent who can help me. I can, of course, try and do it via the email channel, but then it becomes even more inefficient because now it's a back and forward with options and selections and eventually confirmation. So traveler-wise, I'm just saving so much time when I can do this myself. Secondly, and the buyers in this call will clearly resonate with this, right? When I make an agent-driven change, travel policy more or less becomes obsolete because I'm no longer controlled by what I'm giving access to. A lot of agencies will try and kind of enforce the corporate policy when they do these kind of GDS native changes, but it requires the agent to know. It requires the agent to remember and to accept that I'm not allowed to do this because this company's policy is saying something else. Thirdly, and this is a relatively new development, but sustainability is becoming just as important as price. So what if the agent picks a flight that is on an old Boeing 767 and the company have a sustainability policy that prevents from flying on that plane? You are seeing policy breaks opening up in all ways in the old way. Here you have control and changes can only be made when they comply. And as a nice side bonus, you have duty of care control because the data are consolidated immediately and you have reporting control. So this is where you start seeing the benefits of the open integrated kind of tech stack versus the old kind of closed unstructured environment. That's just the beginning. Going forward, I can start getting unique offers that are exposed to me that I can say yes, no to, instead of, again, having to track down an agent that can explain the offers to me and execute them. And we didn't show it in the short video here, but one of the things I really love that we have created is I can add my frequent flyer number if it's missing. I can make sure my TSA pre number is there. I can go in and add these important data elements myself instead of having to track down an agent to do that for me. So it also leads to better service on the agent side because they're no longer being disturbed by these stupid manual data requests.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, Johnny. It's I think you hit on it a number of times. It's all about giving the traveler control. We've all experienced disruptions, but whenever we can, jump in and self-service, that really helps the situation. So we've been very focused on doing that on our own direct channels with our customers on our mobile app. But it's just great to see, Spotnana continuing to expand on those capabilities.
And Johnny, you were talking about having more offers that are tailored to the individual as part of that conversation as well. And that is a great segue for us to talk about personalization, which is one of the keywords that was included in the title of today's webinar. And what do you see, Johnny, as the benefits of a personalized travel shopping experience?
I think it's going to be a kind of a slow-moving start because the entire ecosystem have to be able to support the personalization capabilities we have. But the obvious one is start by making sure that my behavior is reflected, my past behavior is reflected into my next booking. So if 10 bookings show that I never leave San Francisco Airport before 11 a.m., don't show me a 6 a.m. flight. I don't care. I'm never going to use it. My travel history shows that I'm not going to take any flight in that early morning. Start reflecting that because that shortens my selection process. So first of all, make sure I get the information that's right for me based on past behavior. Secondly, use the wisdom of the crowd in the company I work for. If I'm traveling to a destination I've not been at before, let me know what others in my company that I work for, what flight they normally take, what hotel they stay in, because the data are sitting there in the back end. And rather than me trying to track down somebody who have been in Sao Paulo in Brazil, let the engine tell me. The data are there. And then thirdly, let the airline understand who am I. I might be flying with American for the first time because I'm in a place where their schedule doesn't fit my requirements, but I travel 100 days a year. That's important for American to know that this is a very frequent traveler, rather than them thinking, this is the first time this person is traveling. So it's all about taking the knowledge about the behavior of the profile of the traveler and start exposing it into new services and capabilities.
And
Yep.
what are some of the other elements that can be personalized? What does a personalized travel shopping experience look like, or what could it include?
Yeah.
So, yeah, go, Anthony.
I was just gonna say, I mean, for American, it's all about just being relevant to the traveler. So, a tailored experience and what we do today is really around personas. So is the traveler an elite within the American Advantage program, or is the traveler associated with one of our corporate negotiated contracts? And so in third-party channels today that aren't using the modern retailing experiences, there's a lot of clutter in the shopping results. And customers are forced to kind of sift through it and find the right product for them. But with NDC technology, we're able to bring more relevance to the questions that are being asked. And so, for example, if an executive platinum for shopped within Spotnana, we wouldn't return back the main plus offer that we have available in our NDC API. Because a lot of those elements of main plus our executive platinums get for free. So we certainly wouldn't want that executive platinum buying main plus. And then additionally, once the traveler gets to the seat map, we're able to recognize the loyalty benefits that traveler has, or maybe corporate recognition benefits that we've given to the travelers underneath that specific corporation. And today we give free preferred seats to a number of our large corporations, and it's required to be booked outside the original booking tool. Travelers have to come to aa.com. And I think we can all agree this isn't an ideal experience for the traveler to have to visit multiple websites for the same booking. So through the integration with Spotnana, we receive that corporate identifier on the seat map. And so we can recognize that corporate traveler and serve up those free seats just within Path, making it a lot more seamless for them.
And I think actually perfect examples, right? Because any traveler that makes a booking typically have two identifiers that the airline would like to know. It's the corporate ID and it's the frequent flyer ID. And the two give access to different benefits and different services. So the company wants to make sure they get the deal, obviously. We can ensure that now, because if there's a corporate deal, it will be shown and delivered by American the moment that search happens. Nobody has to remember to do anything manually. And then secondly, on top of the corporate benefits, I immediately see what I'm entitled to as a traveler when I go through the final booking selection. And you're right, Anthony, getting told during a check-in process by an airline that, hey, would you like to buy a seat when you know your status already allow you to pick a seat for free? It's just, that's an example of really stupid marketing at the end of the day. So remove the clutter, limit the information to exactly what I want to see and nothing else. And then again, it's important that this works both for the online booking channel where the traveler makes the booking and for the agent channel. There should not be any difference. And that's again what our platform is providing, a guarantee that you have the same benefits no matter how the booking is made. And American, of course, will make sure you get the right offer from them. That's between the buyer and the airline. We are only making sure it is shown.
And it gives me a great opportunity to transition into our second demo. And let me get my screen share going again. So here for orientation, we're on the home screen of the Spotnana online booking tool. And this experience is very familiar to I'm sure everyone here. We've selected an American flight. Excuse me, we've selected we've run a search between two American hubs. And what's coming up is American results at the top of the search display because American has on the back end been designated as a preferred supplier. And this is something that a travel manager can easily do on a self-service basis in our administration console. And here the traveler is going to drill into the economy section and see a series of branded fares that are displayed side by side. What we're seeing is the main cabin, main plus, and main cabin flexible offerings, and the differences in amenities are clearly visible and easy to compare. And main plus is one of the special elevated offers that American Airlines provides either through its direct channels or exclusively through NDC. And here you can see it displayed side by side with other offers as well. This particular traveler is working at a company where rates have been negotiated with American Airlines, and you can see how those are also clearly displayed. It's very visible what the list rate would be as well as what the discount is. And that helps the traveler also see the hard work that the travel manager has done to negotiate those corporate rates on their behalf. So here our traveler is going to go ahead and I think this. Oops, I'm so sorry. Looks like this is starting over. Let me move ahead quickly. Okay, here we go again. So here our traveler is selecting a rate. And now they're going to the next step in the process where they can select a seat. And I'm going to pause here to explain what I'm showing. For the purposes of today's demo, we've run 2 searches and selected the exact same flight. And what we're showing now is that the seat map that's displayed to the traveler is different depending on what the loyalty status for the traveler is. On the left, you see a seat map for a traveler that does not have loyalty status on American Airlines. And on the right, you can see a seat map for someone who does have elite status. And as I advance the demo here, what you'll see is that the same seats there's a fee associated for the traveler with no loyalty status, but those same seats do not have a price for the traveler who does have loyalty status. And then once that seat is selected, the traveler gets through to the confirmation screen and is able to book the flight. So I want to just quickly recap the elements of personalization that we saw in the demo. We were able to show preferred supplier status that a travel manager could indicate in the tool, which also affects the search results. So preferred suppliers are placed at the top of those search results. We showed corporate negotiated rates, and we showed loyalty status that was automatically applied in the booking process. And I'll also just double click quickly on something that Johnny had said earlier, which is that the way that our technology is built, any travel agent that's using our agent desktop is also using the exact same platform and has access to the exact same data. And so that means that they see the same policies and trips and profiles and corporate negotiated rates and loyalty benefits as the traveler. And this allows them to provide a much faster and more personalized experience to that traveler as well. So with that, let's move on to our next topic. We've talked a little bit about NDC in our conversation so far and what NDC opens up in terms of being able to share and distribute content and also enable, as we demonstrated today, self-service modifications to flights. But in our press release and our announcement, we talked about actually going beyond NDC through our partnership. And what does that mean to go beyond NDC? What other opportunities are available once you start thinking beyond what NDC enables?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. So our partnership is really focused on removing the friction from the corporate travel booking experience. And so a key friction point that we haven't touched on today is around enrolling in the Advantage program. So our loyalty program here at American. Maybe we have a new employee that just joined the company and just graduated from university. And so traditionally, again, we would require these travelers to visit aa.com in order to enroll. But what Spotnana has done is you've integrated to our Advantage one-click enrollment service. And so this process is really seamless for the traveler. They're able to do it with one click within the booking flow within Spotnana, using the information that they've already provided as part of the traveler profile in the Spotnana platform. So again, another example of how we're using technology to create the booking process to be all within one platform, not requiring the traveler to come to a different website for seats or a different website to enroll in the Advantage program. And it's just a good example, I think, of how when you have a partnership that includes technology, we can really solve pain points for the industry.
Terrific. Well, let's take a quick look at what that experience looks like. This is our third and final demo for today's webinar. So here I'm on the confirmation screen, and I'm scrolling down just to verify that all my details are correct as a traveler. And there's an area where I can add my loyalty program number if I haven't done so already. And I'm just going to go back a quick second. And in this case, the traveler has gotten all the way through the booking process and realizes that they don't have an American Airlines Advantage program number, but they would like to procure one, and they're faced with a couple of choices. They could either go to American Airlines and go ahead and apply for that, receive that number, most likely have to start the booking process all over again. Maybe since they're already on the American site, they'll go ahead and complete that booking process there, and the travel manager loses the opportunity to gain visibility into that trip. What we've created is something that provides another option. Here, the traveler can just click and say that they want to join the program. And all the data that's needed to complete the application is automatically pre-populated. This information already exists in the traveler profile. And they have the opportunity to make any corrections if anything is out of date. Assuming everything is fine, all that's needed is to click this button down here on the left to join the American Advantage program for free, and then click the join button to confirm their transaction. And instantaneously, a Advantage program number is supplied and populated, and they can go ahead and complete their booking. And this is something that we think is a true industry first.
And I think, Justin, the two videos you just showed, right? They're showing how two very long-standing problems are finally kind of going away, right? The first one, the seat map selection. Most travelers that make a corporate booking in one of the old booking engines, it's just part of life that I make the booking, then I go to the airline website or the airline mobile app and select my seat, because I know I have a status that's not supported in the online booking engine, generally speaking. So I'm saving that time now by just picking the right seat immediately when I make the booking. And the second one here, right, it's taking away the annoyance of entering data that already exists digitally about me. Why on earth should I sit manually and type this information when it's already in my profile? So it's a great example of how life will become easier again for the traveler as we go forward in a lot of small areas. But the really exciting opportunities is what NDC, the protocol, is going to allow us to do in the future, right? Because currently it's showing the products American Airlines have defined and agreed with the corporate customer based on the old world, meaning we have cabin classes and we have fare buckets and we have benefits that are included or not. As we go forward, this is where together we will take innovation to a whole new level of kind of innovation, whether it's disruption management, so-called waivers, where corporates and airlines agree on a number of trip-specific benefits they have on a yearly basis, whether it's, certain trips are more important than others, let the airline know so they can react and support the traveler accordingly on a high-value trip. And small things like name change or whatever might come down the road, sustainability capabilities, all of these will start flowing in on top of the basic price and seat capabilities of NDC.
Terrific. And this gives us an opportunity to transition now into the Q&A portion of our program. I'm seeing that already a number of questions have been submitted, and please go ahead and ask other questions that you'd like us to answer. I'll take the first question, and Johnny, actually, I think you were already touching on this, and if there's anything else that you or Anthony want to add, please feel free. What are some of the opportunities for innovation that you would both like to explore in the future?
Anthony, you go first.
Okay, thanks. I think we can actually start to truly have the conversation with corporate travel buyers around tailored corporate offers. What we've had conversations before, and I know a lot of corporations are interested in discussing these, but we haven't quite solved that last mile that I mentioned earlier with a booking tool that could serve up the offer, but also service the offer in the situation that the customer does need to be serviced in the original booking tool. And so I'm really excited about the future opportunities. To Johnny's previous point, we're really just scratching the surface, moving our industry forward into offers and orders. And I feel like together we're going to discover a lot of new ways to create more seamless experience for travelers.
And Johnny, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I would say kind of the two areas that really represent significant value and benefits, right, for both the airline and the buyer and the traveler is one is disruption management. When something happens, today the airlines are doing an absolutely great job at trying to very quickly get people rebooked or give them options. But that happens based on what they see. So we can potentially create a disruption management capability that fits into the corporate program. Because a company might have a rule that says, if the traveler is delayed by more than 2 hours because of disruption management, cancel the trip. So there's not even a point in looking for a seat for them. Their policy will not allow that, but they cannot control that the way things are working today. So having intelligent disruption management that supports corporate policy, I think that's a massive opportunity. And then sustainability data. So airlines like American at some point can start providing us real-time fuel consumption and therefore emission per seat data when the flight is over. We have an average estimate before the flight based on what's happened in the past, but we will at some point, not kind of too far into the future, start having real-time fuel data delivered when the plane hits the gate. So now you have real-time fuel data and carbon emission data for your program, if you care enough about it to go down that road. So it's really exciting what we can do together here.
One of the questions that came in was around the self-service exchange that we demonstrated. And the question states, where a credit is noted on a booked ticketed flight, will that go back to the credit card or as a trip credit to the traveler, as long as the booking rules permit the refund on a corporate booking? Johnny, do you want to take that?
I'm not 100% sure what will happen. I assume it'll be credited to the card that was used for paying the ticket. But Anthony, I don't know if you can confirm that one.
Yeah,
I think, go ahead, Anthony. Yes.
Yeah, so our API that Spotnana is integrated to supports all sorts of servicing scenarios. So in the instance where a credit is a residual value, is what we call it, the customer certainly would retain that value and could be used in a new order as part of payment. And then, of course, if a refund is due to the customer, we would refund it.
That's right. And I should have taken a moment to show in the demo, there's a little text box that explains what's going to happen for the traveler. And it states that depending on the fare rules, a credit is going to be issued, or or whatever else might be appropriate for that particular fare. And in the case of a cancellation, we also have the ability to also refund on the credit card.
Justin, can I throw another example of innovation that I know a lot of the buyers on the call here probably will be interested in? If you look at large group or meeting kind of travel, today it's been very hard to manage negotiated airfares for a specific large meeting. It's more or less happening in Excel in the background with a lot of manual exchange of information. We are able to guarantee the airline, American, that this search originates from a real group booking, and therefore we can show a meeting only airfare only for those searches. The airfare will not show up at any other traditional corporate travel search. So suddenly it becomes possible to have real deals that covers these big meeting and events, but without undermining the general commercial model of traditional corporate travel. Again, this is what technology enables when it's designed the right way.
There's another question here on flight changes. what if the ticketing rules require the same origination and departure locations on exchanges? Will the origination and departure fields be grayed out and only date changes be available? And we do make sure that the FAIR rules are applied throughout the process. And if there's anything that the system is currently not designed to handle, then there's a failover to an agent, and there's a notification indicating that this particular change will require some agent support. And then we have the flexibility on the back end to handle anything that hasn't yet been fully enabled in the booking tool. This question says, perhaps this was covered later, and I think we did touch on it, but we could probably go deeper to understand, how does SpotNana support or facilitate the offline booking environment? And Johnny, would you like to speak to that?
I certainly can. So first of all, we don't really call it offline anymore. As I said, we call it a traveler-made booking or an agent-made booking, because they're both made on the same platform. But we also support off-platform bookings. So if a traveler wants something to be booked for them that is not available in the SpotNana platform, they can either book it themselves and then go into their trip container and manually add that service segment so it becomes part of the trip, or they can email it to our agent or send it via the chat channel, and the agent will add it as an off-platform service component in the relevant trip container. Because that's one of the big changes we have made. We don't talk about bookings, we talk about trips. A trip consists of one or more booking capability or services, but together they become a trip. And it doesn't matter where something is booked, we load it in so it becomes part of the trip overview, and we can therefore deliver services and provide data capabilities on top.
And Johnny, I think this would be another question for you. Has SpotNana solved for all the traditional offline triggers, such as complex and international travel booking?
I wish I could say yes, but no, we are not there yet. I would say we are at the beginning of coming up with a kind of a perfect, reliable answer to complex international trips. And I'm saying that because I've been kind of putting a few of those together myself on our platform. So generally speaking, I end up selecting my flights, but then it goes to the agent in the back end who will still make sure everything is optimized from a price and benefits perspective. It is very hard because of the legacy that all this information is setting in. So we are not 100% there yet. I would say we are probably doing a job that's just as good as the best of the old booking engines. And we will evolve and improve quickly from here.
And maybe just to double click on that, my understanding is that the infrastructure we've built, the approach that we're taking, will enable us to have a great answer to this question in the future. Do you want to speak to that at all?
Well, I think that is correct, right? But we are only as good as the information we can get hold of. And Anthony and I are both going to an IATA event later this year. Happens to be in Bahrain. That's not an easy place to find the best deal to, especially not if you are going somewhere else after Bahrain. And those are the type of trips where I would say we're still not there where you can do it and be 100% certain you're getting the best option. It requires some research and some time spent, and perhaps that's better to throw at an agent who can do it for you. But the goal is to crack this problem because we have the data and now we have the platform to do it. And I would say, Anthony, for you as an airline, when people are doing a complex search and you are 2 out of 7 segments as a servicing airline, I mean, how do you see that world?
Yeah, we had to continue to evolve in terms of the offers that we can put on the shelf. We do have very robust, shopping and offers that we can offer through our NDC API today. I mean, we do that, of course, everything AA and our code share partners. Then we have about 18 interline partners that we have an augmentation point in our NDC API to offer up interline itineraries and multi-stop, multi-city itineraries. But we haven't covered the globe yet on all the possible options, and we'll get there for sure.
Yeah.
Our next question is SpotNana reliant on NDC, or can it be used with the traditional GDS model?
That's such a good question, right? Because it goes to the heart of the confusion around NDC. So we are connecting to the airlines that have NDC capabilities at a level that makes sense to bring into the corporate environment. It's up to the customer if they want to use NDC content or not. We're not enforcing it. Each customer decides if they want to see NDC content or not. If they want to see it, it makes sense for them to reach out to the airline and make sure that they have a negotiated deal, because that's one of the benefits they get when they consume NDC. But it's up to the customer if they want to use NDC or not. And then it's between them and the airline what they actually get into the platform. We work on GDS, we work on NDC. As you saw in the two video demos, the three video demos, the content is presented side by side. There is no difference. The traveler don't know where a given fare is coming from, and there's no reason why they should know.
We are content agnostic. We work with
Yes.
all content sources, integrate, dedupe it, merge it, present it in a consistent way, and then handle all the complexity on the back end of managing the transaction if it's handled differently through any of those content sources. The next question is, does the TMC still ticket the itinerary so all of our other information is added? For example, American Business Extra Awards. For my company, our itineraries no longer go through auto ticketing due to credits and other items that would keep the itinerary from getting ticketed.
So I can start for at least American. So I'll give a shameless plug for those that are listening. Please go to ndc.aa.com after this if you choose to, because you can see all the various connection options that booking tools as well as travel agencies and aggregators can connect to in order to get access to our NDC content. But the connection that Spotnana has done, which is what we call our direct connect, it's our bread and butter one. It's one where you have an agency issuing the ticket. And so it's on neutral ticket stock. Spotnana is the ticketing agency. And so that's where I'll leave in the comments there.
Yeah, and I would just add, I mean, we issue the tickets according to the rules of the airline. So if the airline wants to use ARC/BSP, it'll go through that. If they want to eliminate that, that's up to them. Also, to Anthony's point, Spotnana, we are the agency of record for corporate customers who are working with us, but we also have a number of TMCs who are getting ready to launch on our platform. And in that case, they will be the issuing kind of agency for the tickets. But these TMCs will also get access to the AA NDC content. So that's one of the benefits. We're actually expanding the NDC reach into the agency community on a wider basis.
The next question is, how does Spotnana integrate with existing expense systems such as Concur?
So we do it the easiest possible way. We will deliver the data to any expense system that the customers want to use. We do have direct integration already to a number of the major expense report systems, such as Concur and Expensify, etc. And Sender. So the data will drop in based on their capabilities of getting them. Interestingly, with the likes of Sender, another kind of, I would say, true digital expense report player, it's a real-time data integration. So the moment the booking is made, it's also in expense. There is no delay at all. So it kind of matches what Concur have always claimed to be the only one doing this real-time integration. But more importantly, we believe expense report will eventually become a thing of the past for most bookings. If you know you have booked according to policy, if you know you got your corporate deal and the price was right and the traveler did everything they were supposed to, why on earth would you even have an expense report? Just send it straight to the ledger. And you might be left with 5 or 10% of trips going through an expense report process. But again, our customers decide it's their data. We will send them anywhere they want, at any speed and frequency they want.
Our next question is, what about other carriers? Johnny, do you want to speak to how we work with it?
No, no other carriers, Johnny.
There are no other carriers.
Yeah. No, it's an obvious question, right? And I already said it earlier. We are currently in active development and almost done with a few other major airlines connecting to their NDC capabilities. Each of these major airlines have created their own strategy around NDC, and we are developing the connections ourselves because that makes sure that we can take advantage of whatever capabilities they have, but also that we can start building advanced services to our customers that still understand the ability of each airline. Because there are airlines that are further ahead on the NDC road than others. But over time, we expect to have all the major airlines NDC connected. And I do think we'll have at least one more announcement this year with a major airline going live with NDC, and then hopefully 4 or 5 others in the first half of next year. They more or less use the same technical capabilities, but there are adjustments for each one. But we will deliver and communicate as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I love to hear that, Johnny, because I think it's important for us to have an ecosystem. And that's how we're all going to get better, is all of us investing and innovating and failing together and improving together and figuring out what works. So that's great.
Yeah. And I want to share one exciting capability of the future, right? It's known as the One Order kind of initiative from IATA. And I know Anthony is one of the global kind of work group leaders. One Order will eventually allow us, the booking service provider, to tell, say, Lufthansa that Justin is arriving in Dallas on a flight that is 1.5 hours delayed on American, but he is flying from Dallas to Frankfurt with Lufthansa. Today, Lufthansa don't know that he's arriving late on an American flight. One Order will literally allow us to exchange the information so Lufthansa knows that he's arriving late and can take the steps accordingly to adjust and help. That's what One Order is enabling when the data are in place to take advantage of this new environment. And that's the next big kind of really exciting development, how we can improve through doing trip services by smart use of data.
The next question has to do with the one-click advantage enrollment that we demonstrated. The question is, will the profile information be pulled from an existing profile in a GDS like Sabre, or will you have to enter information individually?
So we are a corporate platform, so we only have users who have a profile. The profile is created in basically 3 different ways. It can be integration with the HR system, so we get a data feed with all employees. It can be a so-called file upload, Excel, CSV, etc., with a list of employees that become corporate travelers with a profile, or it can be created manually by the administrator or by the agency who can add a new profile to the platform. But you must have a profile before you can enter the platform. We don't use GDS profiles, just to make that very clear. All the profiles are stored in our cloud backend. So again, they are structured data. They are available for intelligent integration with other systems for workflow purposes and for data exchange.
The next question is, does Spotnana interact with the customer via his or her email address outside of a booking transaction? For example, with joining the American Airlines Advantage Loyalty Program on the through Spotnana's booking tool, will an auto-generated email from American Airlines Loyalty be sent to the new joining member as well?
Yeah, so it actually does trigger a welcome email from American Airlines, because that's important, because we want the traveler then to go and select their preferences around notifications and emails from American Airlines. It gives them the opportunity to opt in, opt out of various preferences. So we do send that welcome email after someone joins the program, just like we would do today if somebody registered another way.
And Johnny, there's a follow-up question for you. Does Spotnana also send confirmation emails for bookings to the traveler email address and other communications?
Of course we do. We send emails when you create a booking. We send emails if you change a booking. We send emails or notifications to the mobile channel if anything happens to your trip during the actual kind of travel experience. So whether there are flight delays or information changes, will be pushed to you via the channel of communication you have preferred in your profile.
There's a question here that says, how are other airlines, car rentals, and hotels offered?
They are shown side by side. The 3 video demos today, we saw American content. We are connected to the GDS environment as well. Currently, we are live on Sabre and finalizing on Amadeus. So you will see any airline content that is available in the GDS environment, in addition to anything from the NDC or the low-cost kind of carrier world via Travel Fusion. Everything is brought in from any available and relevant content source. But you, the buyer, decide what you want to use.
And the next question, and the questions have been wonderful. Thank you for submitting so many. The Biden administration is passing a new bill that will bring transparency to some of the hidden fees that exist in the booking process. What is Spotnana doing to stay up to date? Has there been conversations regarding this? And I think this would be not only a good question for Johnny, but Anthony. I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, I actually think, Anthony, you predicted yesterday this question would come, so
Yeah.
you called it.
Yeah, I didn't put it in the chat. So I would say yes. I think Spotnana is well positioned to meet the requirements if they do become a regulation by the DOT. We are working feverishly on our backend infrastructure to make sure we meet any and all requirements. And since Spotnana already passes the loyalty number within the shopping request, we can already have those rails already built to send back the information. So the DOT provisional ruling was around bag fees as well as seats for those that are traveling with a child under the age of 13. So of course we have all the information around bag entitlements in our systems, and it's just an additional message or data element that will pass back to Spotnana. And the work's really going to be, in my opinion, on the booking tools because it's going to have to be very dynamic in the future versus today. It's very binary. Does this traveler get a bag or not?
Yeah, and I would say it's a great example of why, again, we need a new kind of infrastructure to manage the digital data flow in travel, right? If the DOT makes this kind of law, I don't know how long it will take for the kind of GDS infrastructure to make that available so it can easily be presented in all point of sale environments that are out there today. My guess is they will provide a relatively big transition period because they have to. But meanwhile, as Anthony said, we already have a channel for them to send the data to us. So the moment they can provide the information to us, we can add it to our information display. We should be up and running very quickly after any ruling has kind of come into place.
There's a question here. Does Spotnana have plans to solve for group, in parentheses, meetings and events, as well as transient travel booking?
We definitely do, and we have actually already communicated about it together with another travel tech company called Troop. Troop have a very advanced kind of meeting planning engine, and we are connecting with them. So once you have decided in the Troop environment where you want to have your meeting and when it's going to take place, we have enabled Troop to literally create the bookings via the Spotnana platform. So travel policy, any deals are applied. And all this is happening seamlessly. The only thing we need to know is the kind of the email ID of the traveler, because then we can identify them in the profile environment and make sure, again, the bookings are made with their right credentials and with the information that is required. And as I said earlier, this is where a new world is opening, because if Troop have a customer who have negotiating a meeting only airfare with American, we can now automatically apply that airfare. That airfare will not even pop up in a traditional GDS search because it will not be loaded because American don't want to have spend the time and energy on loading these kind of airfares on a one-off without having control of the use of them. But we can literally ensure that the airfare automatically is applied for any meeting booking for that particular event. And all this is happening automated with a full audit trail behind the scenes.
And our last question is, how does a corporate customer contact SpotNana to explore options for their company platform? Who do we contact? And I will just go to my last slide here, where if you visit spotnana.com, you'll be able to find a way to contact us. And if you visit our blog, you'll be able to see more information on the announcement that American Airlines and SpotNana made together, including a blog post with some great details. And with that, I want to thank again GBTA for giving us the opportunity to share this information with you, and Johnny Torson and Anthony Rader for presenting today's content. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Thanks for all the great questions.
Thank you.